Alright, what's up guys? Don't know how well you can hear me, but today we are on the Harley Davidson Street 500. This is a 2020 model and we're going to go for the first ride. I've only driven it down the street away from the house. Other than that, that's as much experience as I've got with it. So, without further ado, let's go for a ride. This is a stock bike other than the exhaust, which is a Reinhardt, which is put on at the factory. And these little mirrors here, they are Harley Davidson as well. They're just a different model to be a little bit taller. So other than that, this is a stock bike. This is basically a brand new 2020 Harley Davidson Street 500. So let's go, see what it's like. Sounds good.
Hey guys, Crackerjack here. So I've recorded this after the ride to really allow myself the chance to mull over it and process my opinion. So before we get into it, please do me a huge favor and leave a like on this video and subscribe for more motorcycle content. Okay, so first thing I noticed when getting onto the bike is the seating position. The seat on the Street 500 is very comfortable and you sit quite low down, so reaching the road with your feet is no issue whatsoever. The seat itself is really soft and very different to what I'm used to, having normally ridden sports bikes, which are usually quite hard. This is plush when compared to that, and I kept thinking throughout my ride about how comfortable I was in the seat. Especially with the upright sitting position. Your feet are in front of you, but only slightly. I took the Harley on my usual reviewing route, which is down a winding valley road on the Gold Coast, with lots of twists and turns and a couple of straights, so I could open up the tap and see how it fares there too. When I first sat on the motorcycle, I did think that it was quite large, and to be honest, I thought it was going to be slow and more of a typical cruiser, but that feeling quickly disappeared as soon as I set off. My expectations coming into this first ride was that the Street 500 would be a bit ungainly when riding, and that it wouldn't particularly hit the corners that well. But what I discovered was actually quite surprising. When riding, the Street 500 actually feels light and, dare I say it, agile? The bike has a claimed wet weight of 233 kilograms, and when riding along, I played with the handlebars a bit, and despite that weight, it turns in surprisingly fast. So fast, in fact, that I actually felt quite sporty. It ate up the corners that I usually hit on my Ninja 400 with ease, and around the same speeds too. I never felt like I had to fight the bike or work hard to go around a corner. It glided through most of the corners with ease and felt really forgiving. Which makes sense because this is a learner approved bike and aimed at those kinds of riders. The clutch is very light and the bike goes up and down its gears really smoothly, which added to the experience for me. The other highlight of the ride was the engine. The Street 500 has a 494cc V-twin, which produces 29.5 foot-pounds of torque at 4,000 RPM and redlines at 8,000. So I had a hard time finding a reliable horsepower number for this bike. So if anybody knows that number, comment it down below and I'll pin you. While the engine doesn't produce a lot of power, what it does make is very low down in the rev range, so it all feels usable and fun. Everyday riding speeds are very easily handled and there's enough grunt to get you moving fast. It's a lively little motor and the way it delivers its power is super smooth. You can also bang it up the gears really quickly, so it feels like you're getting a lot from the bike. On the straights, however, you can feel where the power starts to cut out, and after you get to around 120 Ks, the needle will only be going up slightly. Overall, I enjoyed the engine performance and characteristics on the Street 500. Even though there isn't much after normal highway speeds, it's definitely a fun little motor. I also really liked the Reinhardt exhaust that came with the bike, which is an optional extra. It's loud, deep, and sounded great. Here, have a listen. The brakes of the motorcycle also did a good job, with a big single 300mm disc at the front and at the rear. Those are bitten with dual piston floating calipers and they have ABS. I can't really complain about my experience with them and felt confident braking into corners. Overall, I thought the suspension was pretty decent all round too. It ate up majority of the bumps with ease and added to how comfortable the ride of the bike is. When going over bigger bumps, it did jump a little, but that was rare. The handlebars on the Street 500 also had me feeling like a typical cruiser boy, being in a more neutral position than forward and low like a sport bike. I thought they were in a good spot and they felt good to me. Now, onto what I wasn't a fan of. The dash on the Street 500 is small and simple. It works fine, but little things like not having a dedicated rev counter or gear indicator is frustrating. To get to those, you need to cycle through the dash's presets, like clock and trip A and B, and eventually you'll find one with both the digital rev counter and a gear indicator on it. But the gear indicator only really works when you're riding. So if you pull the clutch and come to a stop at a set of lights, it won't indicate what gear you're in. So when I came to a stop, I found myself changing down in gears until I couldn't anymore, just so that I knew I was in first. Look, it's not a huge deal, and I'm sure you'd get used to it, but it was annoying for me. The indicator buttons are also very shallow and could use a little more click to them. Also, when first sitting on the bike, I found that my leg hit the engine cover on the right hand side, and I had to adjust the way I sat a bit to account for that. Also note that the stock mirrors are a bit shorter than these, and it's quite difficult to see directly behind you with them due to the placement. Other than that, I enjoyed my time with the Street 500 and it was definitely a positive experience. I think the motorcycle looks great too, especially in this matte black finish, which Harley calls black denim. For some reason, I don't think photos really do it justice, and it looks so much better in person than it does on a screen. For the price of this motorcycle, which starts at 9,995 Australian, I think it offers decent value for money too. It's the smallest bike in the Harley lineup, but for a new rider, I can see the value and appeal. It's got a fun little engine and is nimble enough to have a lot of fun on a twisty road. It is an entry-level Harley, but I think they've done a great job. And if you're simply after a Harley, I don't think you'd be disappointed at all. I came away mostly impressed, and with only a few little things keeping me from truly loving the bike. So that's it guys, my first ride and review of the 2020 Harley Davidson Street 500. What do you think of it? Leave a comment down below and let's have a chat. Please do me a huge favor and leave a like on the video and subscribe to see more motorcycle content just like this. The channel's been growing really quickly lately, and I want to say a huge thank you for all the engagement and watching the videos. I really do appreciate it. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook at @quackjack_. So till next time guys, see ya!